Imagine this. You've been on Humira for 10 years. It's the medication that finally brought your psoriatic arthritis under control. No more unpredictable flares, no more relentless pain. You can finally live your life. Then one day, a letter arrives from your insurance company. It says you're being switched to a biosimilar. No discussion. If this scenario sounds familiar, you're not alone. People across the country are facing similar changes, and naturally, you have questions. Will the biosimilar work as well as Humira? Is it safe to switch? What happens if you don't respond well? Do you need a new prior authorization? And perhaps the most important question, how will this affect out-of-pocket costs? But at the end of this video, you'll have a clear answers to all these concerns, plus practical steps to make the transition as smooth as possible. Let's break it down. Before we dive into insurance and switching, let's make sure we understand key players in the conversation. Reference biologic. This is the original FDA-approved biologic medication that a biosimilar is based on. Think of Humira. It's commonly prescribed for conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, and Crohn's disease. Biosimilar, a medication designed to be highly similar to the reference biologic. It has no meaningful clinical differences in terms of safety or side effects. Examples include Hyrimoz and Hadlima, which are biosimilars of Humira. Interchangeable biosimilar. This is a biosimilar that has met additional FDA requirements that prove it can be switched back and forth with the reference biologic without affecting safety or efficacy. The key difference is that if a biosimilar is interchangeable, a pharmacist can substitute it without a doctor needing to rewrite the prescription, just like with a generic medication. It's important to know all interchangeable biosimilars are biosimilars, but not all biosimilars are interchangeable. An example of an interchangeable biosimilar for Humira is Simlandi. So if your insurance is mandating a switch, find out exactly which type of biosimilar you're being transitioned to. The next question is whether you need another prior authorization. Here's something you might not have expected. Switching to a biosimilar often requires going through prior authorization all over again. Even if you've been on the current biologic for years, your doctor may need to submit paperwork proving you have a qualifying condition, you've been on the reference biologic for a specific duration, and that the biosimilar is being prescribed appropriately. This process can take weeks, and if your insurance denies the request, you might have to appeal, which takes even longer. Don't wait. Call your doctor's office as soon as you find out about the switch. Getting the paperwork started early can prevent treatment interruption. Moreover, your doctor may have samples to help you out until the switch is made. Now let's get into the financials. Cost is often the biggest concern. The good news, many biosimilars come with manufacturer copay savings cards that can significantly reduce out-of-pocket expenses. But here's the catch. If you have Medicare, you cannot use manufacturer copay cards. Medicare considers these programs as a form of secondary insurance assistance, which is not allowed. However, don't panic. There are still ways to save, including patient assistance programs, state and federal discount programs, Medicare savings programs. I'll cover some of these strategies for reducing costs in a future video, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Is switching safe? And what do the studies say? If you're feeling uneasy about switching, you're not alone. Many people worry, will the biosimilar really work just as well? One of the largest and most well-known studies on biosimilars is the Switch trial. This was a rigorous double-blind study designed to determine whether switching from a reference biologic to a biosimilar was just as safe and effective. The study included 482 patients with 6 different autoimmune diseases: Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis, chronic plaque psoriasis. Patients who had been on stable Remicade were randomly assigned to either continue on Remicade or switch to the biosimilar Inflectra. There were no significant differences in disease worsening. Adverse events were nearly identical in both groups, 70% versus 68.3%. There was no increased risk of developing new antibodies against the medication. Drug levels in the blood remained stable. Bottom line, the study confirmed that switching to a biosimilar was not inferior to staying on the original biologic. Patients who were switched did just as well as those who stayed on Remicade. So if your insurance requires a switch, the data suggests that you can expect the same safety, effectiveness, and immune response. So what does this mean for you? If you're being switched to a biosimilar, here's what you need to keep in mind. Biosimilar is FDA approved and backed by real-world clinical data. Check with your doctor about prior authorization requirements. Don't wait until you run out of medication. If cost is a concern, explore savings programs that may help you reduce your out-of-pocket costs. If you experience new side effects, report them to your doctor. Some insurance companies will allow switching back in certain cases. I know that switching medications, especially after years of stability, can feel unsettling. But the research is strong, and biosimilars are proving to be as effective as their brand name counterparts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.